Let's see. Wait. Ah! Let's see if this works. There we go. So, I have not done a helicopter tour, but I did stop by and I went last night and looked around at all the, at the falls and everything over there, one of the wonders of the world. No, it actually is very cool. I went, my buddy has, oh good, it's still here. My buddy has this cool plane, and I'll find some pictures and show you. And we went, he took me over the falls, and has anyone done the helicopter tour here? I didn't know there was one, but I saw a helicopter coming down. I'm like, well, this is it. I'm going to jail for 10 to 20. And they're like, no, that's the tour. And I'm like, oh, okay, good. Let's see if this works here. It should. It's an Apple product. Don't hate Android users. Shame.
I have an iPhone.
I'm an Android user.
I used to be an Android.
Let's see. I'm gonna. How many people do not have their photos just in a mess? Just all your photos in your phone. They're just unorganized and in a mess. Come on. How many people? He's like, yes, it's everybody. Well, I'm gonna recommend a cool app to you. It's called Slidebox, if you haven't heard of it. And it works like so a picture will pop up, and in fact, well, I don't know, a picture will pop up, and you can slide left to up to delete it, and then you slide left to like organize it later or something like that. But you create these little folders below, and you just touch the folder, and that picture will go in the photo. And so it's like a video game. And so you can organize. I organized like 1,500 photos in an hour. So it was pretty cool. Highly recommend. Okay.
Good for starting all those Ruby fan art.
Yeah. See. All right, let's see. Because this is a Todd and his phone panel. I'll show you some things that are on my phone. Well, I can't show you my mom's chocolate chip cookie recipe. She would get upset with me.
So happy.
Let's see. Now, what's going on here?
Is there a problem?
No. It should work. That's why we have. Oh, there we go. Doc. That doesn't work like it does in the movies.
We need to call England.
We need to call England. We need England tech support. Airplay.
See, this is why I was bad.
No. Why are you doing this to me, Apple?
Android.
Todd, do you need any help?
No, I'm good. I'm good. This needs someone familiar with this system's help. We need it. She's on it. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But don't knock iPhones. But what I was going to show you is the shots that I got over Niagara Falls when the little plane's going over, and before we went behind the falls into the secret cave that you guys don't know about.
What made it to the mist?
You guys knew about that?
Made it to the mist?
There's a cave behind the waterfall.
Yeah, made it to the mist.
And that's where the Yeti lives, and that's the Loch Ness Monster stops by and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot of fun. How many people were here last year at this convention? Was Vic's panel in this room?
Yes.
Yes. It was his birthday
That's
panel.
why it smells familiar. I don't know if you've given Vic a hug, but he has a certain manly musk about him, and it will linger because he's just that powerful. So I touched on this yesterday. Now I'll show you some stuff here in a minute. Star Trek continues. I mentioned how many people have seen Star Trek Continues. How many people have not seen Star Trek Continues? That's okay. That's all right. That's awesome. So with Star Trek Continues, I'll show you a little bit. It's his baby. It's Vic's web series that he created, and we didn't know what was going to happen with it, but it became this award-winning international hit. Really, because of him. I'm just like riding the Starfleet coattails with it, but it was this big thing that became something where the Pixar guys work on it, and people from Lucasfilms work on it, and like the music is composed by a 40-piece live orchestra from RIT, and he flies over to Rochester and goes to RIT, and they compose this beautiful music. And our Scotty is the original Scotty's son. And we've got Grant Imahara from the White Rabbit Project and Mythbusters. He's our Sulu. And we've had Colin Baker, who was the 6th Doctor. He was our doctor for an episode. Not our Doctor Who, but he was in the episode. But we've had a lot of people in it, and it's been a great. I'm blown away by it. I knew it was going to be successful because Vic, kind of everything he does production-wise is going to be good. He's not going to let something not be good, so I kind of knew from that aspect. But it's all online, all on YouTube, or if you want to go to, of course, StarTrekContinues.com and check it out. But we're releasing our 9th episode next weekend. And so we have 11 total. And if you're a fan of, is anyone a fan of the original series? Okay, oh my gosh. And if you haven't seen Star Trek Continues, I want to become a strangling machine and just strangle you a little bit. Not to kill brain cells, but just like a little like, why did you do this? So, if you check it out, Judy Burns, who wrote The Tholian Web, wrote our last episode. We're the first series to have an entire planet set, which will be featured in this episode. John Delancey, who was Q in The Next Generation, is the guest star in this next episode. We were just at his house screening it, and guess who was our cook for the night making dinner? Was Robert Picardo, who was the doctor from Voyager. So it was pretty fun. But with this show, we have the first ever full engineering. We have, like I mentioned, the planet set. We also have, we shot in one of our episodes on the original shuttlecraft, the Galileo, that was used in the show and had not been seen on screen in 50 years. And that's sitting at the Space Center Houston. So we went over there, and we went to Space Center Houston after hours, waited till everybody left, and then we set up our stuff, got into makeup and everything, and shot our scene on there. So it was a lot of fun. It bridges the gap between the end of the original series and the first movie. Because the first series was supposed to be a 5-year mission, but it ended up being canceled after 3 seasons. And so we fill that gap of like, what happened to everybody when because in the first movie they were in very different places. And so how did they get there? And so we do all that. Yeah? You on it? Okay. No, that's not going to work. Yeah. No, it doesn't need a different adapter. That's the adapter. Yeah, that's absolutely the one. It just won't work. She's on it. But thank you. Your wig is magnificent. But and so this fills that gap. And so you should definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun. They're hour-long episodes. They're shot in 4:3. Our lighting is. These guys are so incredible that work on it. We have an 18,000 square foot facility that we have the original set exactly how they're laid out on the Desilu space 50 years ago in the blueprints, laid out exactly like that. In the Mirror Universe episode, you guys remember that one where Spock had the goatee? The sash material, the original material, we found that original material they used. There's like one spool of it left, and we used it to make all the sashes for everybody involved in our episode. Episode 6, I believe, the creature that's in it was designed by one of 2 Pixar sculptors. There were 2. They've been there 25 years. I sat down with Greg one day and I said, "What's your favorite character that you've ever created?" And he goes, "Well, that's tough because I love them all." He goes, "But I really liked creating," and I thought he was going to say like these characters I've never heard of. He's like, "Jack Skellington, Oogie Boogie was good. The whole Incredibles family. Buzz, Woody, creating those guys. I'm like, oh, he created all those characters. It's like he designed and came up with the story and the script for that episode. So it's got a lot of great support behind it. So it'd be great. I mean, you check it out. If you don't like it, don't tell me about it. If you love it, tell me all about it. And so he did that, and we're just about to finish. And in fact, I honestly don't know what Vic is going to do with life after this series finishes, because it's kind of like his baby. And so I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do, because every waking minute he's working on that show. And so that's what a lot of my free time goes to, and the amount of my free time is like that. So this episode, I will tell you this because you haven't seen it yet. There are times when you're seeing me from behind, and they're like, what? Something's different about this. It's because it's not me. They had a Spock stand-in for me, and then they would have to go and we would shoot my stuff on green screen in the exact positions to put me in, because I had to go leave in between and go shoot other things, do other things. But it's great fun. You should definitely check it out. And what else should be happening is this should be working, but it's not, because it's Apple. I'll admit it. It's because it's Apple.
Blame Apple.
If Steve Jobs were around, this would not be happening.
If Johnny and I were around this would be
Dang it, Tim could. But yeah, so Star Trek Continues is a lot of fun. You should definitely, especially if you like the original series, check that out. Other things going on, blue screens.
Yeah, the
The
blue
Fairy
screen's
Tale
amazing.
movie comes out next month.
Yeah.
I recorded my stuff at my studio, actually, with the director, and it sounds great. It's all been mixed in for theater sound, so it's actually meant to be seen in a theater, because they went and listened to it in a mix room and tweaked things. It's actually going to be in theaters the week of my birthday. So the Thursday before that, we're doing an LA premiere, and I'll be there. If any of you are in LA, on the 10th, there is a red carpet fairy tale premiere. On the 16th is my birthday, is the day that it's going to be in New York, in Manhattan, playing. I'll be there, and in fact, we're going to do a contest where I'm going to see it with a bunch of fans. The director and I are going to go to the theater and watch it with everybody, which will be fun, because I haven't seen the whole movie. I've just seen my stuff. So it'll be good to see everything put together. Not because I was sitting there like, it's not me, fast forward. But because when you record, you just watch your stuff and you do your scene. So that'll be cool if you guys are in the Manhattan area. Be watching my social media stuff. So I'm on Twitter at Todd Haberkorn. I'm on Instagram at official_Habergram. And then on Facebook, of course, search for Todd Haberkorn and like my page. All updates are going on there. And also then just my website, thehabertat.com for stuff. And there's a cool haberdashery on there too. But there's a haberdashery. But so that's going on. Currently, Ben 10, if you are a fan of that show, is happening, and I'm little gray matter in that show, one of the little aliens that he turns into, which is fun. Tara Strong is Ben. And then the old Ben 10, the old Ben, Yuri Lowenthal, is...
Well, actually, Strong was original.
Well, but Yuri was also Ben.
He was the older one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
I work on the
Because
show.
you're talking about the reboot.
I know.
Or you talking
No,
about
I'm
the
kidding.
there's a
I'm
reboot.
talking about Yuri was Ben.
Yeah.
And he is back on the show. But
Oh.
He's the villain.
For the reboot?
for
You're talking
the
about
one that's out right now.
Yeah, that's the reboot one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
There's a
check
lot
that
of
out. You probably know more than me.
Yeah, there's a lot of Ben 10
No, I know.
ones, so.
I know. I was
yeah.
kidding. I know a lot about the show. But it's but he's back on the show. Tara's back, and we record that at Cartoon Network, which is a blast. And Gray Matter's in there. He's a little guy. And then I want to tell you so much about what's happening for these, but I can't say anything. I don't want to upset them. But Cartoon Network, because remember when I mentioned earlier when a helicopter would come down and take me away? It will be a Cartoon Network helicopter. I don't know how they know things, but they know when you say things, and I'm not going to do that. But Ben 10 is going on. Does anyone listen to audiobooks? Oh, okay, all right. I never know because I just narrate them. I don't know if people listen to audiobooks. I don't know. If you guys are familiar, actually in this area, at least on the East Coast and stuff, is the ghost hunters, Ed and Lorraine Warren, the ones that the Conjuring movies are based on. I'm their narrator for their books. And so I just finished their last book, which is called Ghost Tracks, which I don't know if it's out yet on iTunes. It might be. We finished it earlier this month, end of last month, but it should be out. But it's the last one. Lorraine's still alive. Ed is in the place he was studying for 30 years, I assume, the ghost realm. But it's a cool book. The Annabelle movies, that's what this is based on. All these guys, all their cases. The Amityville Horror, that was their case. And what's funny is I was talking with Margot Kidder, who was in the Amityville Horror movie, and I asked her, I was like, oh, so what do you think of the ghosts and stuff like that? And she, I won't tell you exactly what she said, but I will tell you that she does not believe in them, because there are kids here. So I can't say exactly what she said. But she's not a fan of ghosts. But for me, it's like, I feel like I'm open to it. There are things in this world I don't understand. I don't know how a plant does its photosynthetic thing, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Just because I don't know how it works, or I can't literally see photosynthesis, I know that it happens. Just because I can't see love, I know that I love Skyrim. I know that I know that I'm a Dovahkiin just because I can't see the title Dovahkiin on my shirt. I know that I am. So there's stuff. I mean, that's what's so funny is like we base a lot of the things we believe on what we can see. So we're basing. So essentially, it's like if 1/5 of our senses are convinced, it's real. But it's so funny. So with ghosts, I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm open to it. Am I gonna bet on ghosts? I may not bet on them, but I want to see them. What's that cemetery that's in Rochester? The one that Betsy Ross is in, and is that the one?
Not the only one.
Oh, the notes. Oh. I snuck into that cemetery at 3 a.m. one time. Well, I took a picture of a ghostly thing, and I'll show you the picture if we can get this working. So the picture is I'll explain it to you when I get there. But it was kind of creepy walking around because there are people there from the Civil War that have died there, and I got kind of scared because when we were walking around, we heard voices, and it turns out it was two guys drinking off to the side. But they were kind of creeped out too, just FYI. And so yes, audiobooks are going on. A show that I just finished directing, or I directed a large portion of it before I went to another show. Do you guys know Glitter Force?
Yes.
So season 3 is coming, and season 3 comes out next month, and we've got Debbie Derryberry in it, who is Jimmy Neutron and a lot of other fun roles. Erica Lindbeck, who is the voice of Barbie, she's in the show. We've got Stephanie Shea, who is in Sailor Moon, she's in the show, and Melissa Fawn, who has done so many things, she's also in the show. So there's a lot of cool stuff going on. So Glitter Force season 3 next month on Netflix. You should definitely also check that out after you watch Star Trek Continues and after you go see the Fairy Tale movie in theaters.
Oh, I will be seeing that.
So there's a ton of stuff going on. And, oh my gosh, D. Gray Man. D. Gray Man is back. And so we did season 2 Hallow, which already came out. But then we're doing all the episodes up to Hallow. So remember how we did episodes 1 through 52? Well, we're doing episodes 53 to 103. So we're doing all of those episodes as well. And we did the other season. So there's a ton of stuff. And that's like stuff I can talk about. There's other... I'm trying to think of things in my head it's like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, you can talk about that, no, you can't, yes, mention that, no, don't say that. One of the other shows, this is kind of like a kid's show, though. You probably haven't seen it. Does anyone watch, what's that channel, Baby Einstein? Not Little Einstein, but the channel, the Baby Einstein channel, right? Isn't there like a little like Sprout or something like that? Have you ever heard of the show Tree Food Tom?
No.
Well, you shouldn't have because you're not babies. But if you work with babies, you should totally watch that show because I'm the inventive frog on it. And I am the crux of every conflict in that show because I invent things and then it's like, oh, this is gonna be great. We're gonna be able to harvest babies a lot more efficiently now. And then well, you're not babies, so you don't understand. And so, oh, come on, everyone's thought about harvesting babies. And so the machine, the invention that I create breaks. And it like almost destroys the town and they have to, it doesn't kill the babies, come on, it's a baby show. They just get harvested. And so the harvesting happens off camera. You just hear the noise and the crunching.
That's kind of dark.
It's not dark, there's full light in the factory. They have to be able to see.
Why? Harvesting baby. Why?
Do you like smoothies? Where do you think smoothie juice comes from? It's time to open your eyes.
Harvesting baby.
That's right. Yes.
You really expect us to believe that smoothie juice comes from ours?
I worked on the show. I know what it's about. If you watch season 1, you get a free slaughterhouse apron. No, it's not about harvesting babies. Guys, it's not about harvesting babies. It's about bundling them up inside of a Ziploc bag and throwing them in the freezer. It's hot in the summertime. Where are you supposed to put them?
In an air-conditioned room.
A freezer is an air-conditioned room. A freezer is not an air-conditioned room?
It's not air-conditioned, it's cold, but you
It's
can't
conditioned
live
by
in
what?
there.
What is blowing inside the freezer?
You can't
What's
live in
what's
there.
blowing inside the freezer? Air.
You can't.
Air-conditioned room. Boom!
But it's not true. You can't live in
But you can live in an air-conditioned room. You can. Haven't you seen those mafia movies where they hide the hostage in the room, the meat locker? That's a freezer.
Yeah, but you can't live in there.
They have lived in there. There's a ton of food in there.
Yeah, but how are you supposed to cook it?
It's already cooked.
No, it's not.
It's cooked by freezer burn. Have you ever tried living in a freezer?
No.
But you can't be the authority of it because you've never tried to live in it.
Are you trying to make me dragon?
You can live in an air-conditioned box. So anyway, so that's going on. But so there's a lot of fun stuff happening. What are you guys watching right now? What's Hey, I like that show. That's a fun one. That's a cool looking
Dragon Ball Super.
DBZ Super is going on. I'm Jaco in that, which is fun. I'm in that a little bit, but I don't know where. Naruto, this is what we used to say in Texas. When I lived in Texas, Walker Texas Ranger was a show that everyone was on. Everybody that was an actor was on that show at some point or another because it was on for so many years. Naruto is the Walker Texas Ranger of LA. I know what you're talking about. I'm talking about Naruto, which leads into Boruto. Okay, thank you. See, you guys think you know more than me, but you don't realize I know nothing. And so, with Naruto, gosh, how long have I worked on it? I don't even know all the characters.
Even like random characters in it, yeah.
I've been, I can't even count how many characters, but they're mostly, they know jutsu, And they're ninjas. So I know that much. And I know that they've survived the extreme colds when they've had to have episodes that take place inside freezers.
The baby meat.
You can have 5 episodes in there. Thank you. Yes.
Battling
Thank you.
baby meat zombies.
But anyway, does Shin Godzilla come out yet?
Yes.
Did it? Okay, good. I'm the dude in that. Okay, that was a lot of fun to work on. I was signing next to the dude that's the main artist for all Godzilla things, and like we kind of pieced it together. I was like, oh, you like Godzilla? And he's like, oh, I go, I was the dude in Shin Godzilla, and he goes, I did the box art for Shin Godzilla, and so we connected and had a baby smoothie together. But do you guys have any questions? Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Because your iPhone is so absolutely brand new and updated and requires a special adapter that is so cutting edge, would you be willing to allow us to procure it overnight so you can do your phone event tomorrow during your Q&A and make this your Q&A instead?
Well, the adapter is right here.
Is the brand new adapter?
The brand new adapter is right there attached to it.
We had a person in and we had seemed to think that there was still something brand new and cutting edge.
No, that's the brand new cutting edge
Because
adapter.
we used your iPad in here just yesterday and
Yeah.
we don't understand what the issue is.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that is still an option if it'll give us extra time to troubleshoot.
Okay, we can if you like.
Everyone okay with that?
All right.
Okay.
That sounds cool. That sounds good to me.
There you go.
One question down. Yes, ma'am.
I was looking at the tattoo on your arm and I noticed it was one of the like the voice wavelengths.
Yeah.
Sick.
So first of all, I got this before it was a little paid ad on Facebook, by the way. That is a tattoo. I was in Australia, and there was a woman there who had like 27 tattoos. And I said, you know where good tattoos are. And I go, take me to a place where I can get a great tattoo. And she goes, well, I'm going to take you to Bondi Beach, where there's a tattoo parlor there that has their own reality show, apparently, called Ink Tattoos. And so I go, and it was the last night there, so I had to get it. And so we walk over there to the parlor. It's very cold over in Bondi Beach, because every time you think of a beach, you think, wow, it's going to be pretty warm, because it's a beach. No way. There are 9 to 12 foot waves smacking up against the thing, and there's a guy, I don't know what his name is, we'll call him Moron, who's in the water trying to swim and surf it pitch black at night, 9 to 12 foot waves. I would imagine that he is an NPC in a game that just ends up dying. And so I went to the tattoo parlor, and it was like 8 something, and they're like, oh yeah, we're closed for the night. And I was bummed out, and then he goes, wait a minute, are you Todd Haberkorn? And I went, yeah. And he goes, you can come in. And so they had me come in, and it's kind of weird to be in a tattoo parlor where there's no one else around. Because usually it's like when you get a tattoo, there's that dude getting one like, you know, on his inner thigh, and then there's a girl, she's getting one like on her ribs, and then there are people screaming and crying around. But there's no one crying or screaming. It was just me crying. And so well, I got this tattoo, and he was asking me questions about Naruto while he was doing it. Like he would do a little bit and say, so when you did, and I'm like, I go, let's finish this, the part where you're stabbing a needle into my arm a million times. Then I will answer any question you want. And so this tattoo, the meaning of it is, that's me saying it, because people are like, what, do you know it says that? And I go, yes, I know it says that because I recorded that in my studio and printed that exact image and brought it. So unless he's David Blaine giving me a tattoo and has switched out the waveform and said something else and made it look exactly like the waveform I gave him, which would be epic, and I would like applaud him and be like, you got me. I think it says what I think I know it means. And so that's the saying, and then that is a Zen circle in a like Japanese brush stroke, and that means, you know, it's about clearing your mind to create. And so I went through like some, you know, we all go through tough stuff in life, right? Everybody has a little tough break. We have that part of the cereal box where it's not the Lucky Charms anymore, but it's the powder. It's the stuff that you really don't want to eat it, but sometimes you think, well, but it's still cereal, so I'll just still pour it in my bowl, and then you eat it and you choke a little bit, right? I was going through that part of my life. And once I felt like I got through it and I did all the coughing and I got all the Lucky Charm spores out of my lungs, I felt like I had earned what this says, and I got the tattoo. And I have to look at it and reference it every now and then because we all have little slip-ups. You know, we're not perfect. We're always changing, right? And so I look at that every time I want to think about making not a poor decision, but a colorful set of decisions. And so it helps me. And then this is like, okay, now you can go create stuff and do stuff. Now I'm going to get one more tattoo, and then I'm done. And I know that people that have tattoos always say that. They go, oh, well, you say that, you're going to get 10 more. I can tell you without a doubt, I will not have 10 more tattoos. I know this to be true, because every time I get a tattoo, I hear my mom in my head going, son, why do you going to get hepatitis with those tattoos, son? And I go, yeah. So you think their business model is, let's give our customers hepatitis so we can get in the news. And well, I guess that makes sense, because if like this tattoo parlor gives hepatitis, it might actually drum up their Twitter support. I don't know. So maybe she's right. Maybe she doesn't realize it. Maybe it's like when people say they're, well, I can't. That's a political comment. I won't make that. But so I got that tattoo, and don't worry, I love tattoos. And so I'm gonna get one more, but I got it in Australia. And 9 people in the world know what it means. So I haven't decided who the 10th is going to be. But I don't think the 10th person is in this room right now. Now, if someone had like a little doggy, I would tell the doggy.
I have a plush elephant.
Yeah, but he doesn't look trustworthy.
If I show you a picture of my dog, will you tell the picture?
If the picture of your dog was taken within a sub-zero temperature room.
That would hurt my dog.
Have you tried it?
I don't know. All I
You
know
don't
is
know,
he
but
doesn't
you
like
know for
extreme
certain it would hurt your
temperatures.
dog? Madam.
He doesn't like extreme temperatures.
No, Happy's been kind of mean to me in the last couple episodes. So, oh, and there's another season of Fairy Tale coming.
Oh, really?
But it's the final season.
Oh.
But,
How many episodes?
But I will say, I thought about that because I went back and forth on it because I thought about sicking Liam Neeson on Mashima-san to make more episodes. But I thought about it. Would I rather have one of two scenarios? One, Fairy Tale kind of come to a nice conclusion on the creator's terms where it goes out on top, or do I want it to go into episode 670 where it's just 300 episodes are filler? You know, I don't want that. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's see. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, since we're talking about Fairy Tale here, I have a very special request. Can you please say it's lit in your Natsu voice?
It's in his Natsu voice right now.
Well, I gotta say, if you're talking about things that are lit, Niagara Falls is totally lit.
Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
No spoilers, but are you aware, has anyone told you how Fairy Tale ends? Because the final chapter actually comes out this weekend.
Oh, really?
So the
Actually,
final
it's already
chapter
out. It's already out. It's already out.
You know what? I don't know how it ends. I was told one little spoiler. I was told that Vader reveals something to Natsu. So I don't. That's all I heard. So I'm gonna wait and see what happens. Yes, sir.
Won't say anything.
Yesterday during your Inside the Voice Actor Studio panel, one of your lightning round questions was having to work with someone or working with a voice director that you didn't necessarily like or enjoy.
Yeah.
Did that scenario ever happen while working on, say, or on High School Host Club? Or did any sort of instance happen in the studio?
Where I was working with someone I didn't want to work with?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was someone that I wasn't particularly fond of working with, but at the same time, we could still get the job done and work together. That's the thing is, like, when you when you get further in life, I mean, you know, gosh, in my 18 years on this planet, I've run into some people that I'm not fond of, and I imagine you will too. I imagine when I have my big 21st blowout next month, I hope that there will be people there that I'm fond of 100%. But yeah, there was someone there that I didn't particularly care for.
Are you ready to share this story, or do you want to keep that private?
Well, I've talked about this person before, and there were times when I was like really tired and I had a panel late at night and my defenses were down and I just went ahead and said blah, 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 blah. There are so many cameras in here that I'm not going to do that. And also, that always is amazing to me when people record panels, because I'm like, don't give that to YouTube. Those people didn't take the time to come out here to the convention. You guys did. This is for you. They shouldn't have that.
I just want to be able to remember it.
That's good.
This
Well,
is for my own memory.
okay, that's good. If it's for your own memory, I like that. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like if some lazy person could just hop on YouTube and go, oh, let's see Todd's president. Like, no, you guys got up, you got your cosplay together, you figured out the logistics of getting there, and you made it happen, and I like that. But the person that I didn't like working with, I wish them life.
You said they were eaten by the tentacles of Cthulhu.
Well, do I want them decimated by the tentacles of Cthulhu? No, I would rather them be transported into a Mario level and jump down an abyss, because we don't know where it goes or what happens at the bottom. And it's just purely scientific research. I would like him to go down into that hole. Just to see what happens, because maybe we're all wrong.
Maybe Mario
maybe
bounces when he hits the bottom.
that's true. But he bounces, then he goes right back down.
Exactly.
So maybe what's down there? Who knows? Maybe it's maybe it's a thing of tofu, and he's like hits it, he bounces up, and then he goes in, and then he gets sucked into the tofu, and then the tofu DNA merges with his DNA, and then he becomes a tofu monster, and he grows tofu tentacles because they don't understand phalanges, and they can't give him fingers, and so he's got tentacles. He tries to climb his way back up, and he realizes the walls are tofu as well, and so he just merges with them, and it becomes part of the whole world. And then you hear a little voice that says, "Save me, help me." We're like, "Wait, was that him?" And he's like, "No, it was that tofu thing over there. And that's a little tofu block. I don't trust that block." You start running to get away from it. You pick up a Goomba, and you're like, "I love this Goomba. I wanted to step on its head and crush its skull and kill it, but I love it. And I feel like I want to marry this Goomba." And then you marry the Goomba, and then you have Goomba human babies, and then they grow up, and then they're torn because, like, do I give more to my human side of life, or do I become a Goomba and give it to my Goomba side of life? But then I come to them as an old ancient man, then at the age of 24, and then I say, "Listen, one day you're going to have to decide if you want to take over the kingdom of Mario, or do you want to be a Goomba leader?" And then I have to make this decision, and it's a 3-movie trilogy, and Tony Stark comes in, and then they make their decision. So I don't know.
Where are the baby meats?
Yes. Yeah.
Are there any tips for up-and-coming voice actors that you do?
Tips for voice actors.
You can adapt the kid's voice.
Well, I find that the website iwanttobeavoiceactor.com is highly symmetrical.
And it will have all the tips you need. That's the thing is, yesterday I was talking about when John and Chris were here, we all got our start in different ways. And there are some people that are in the business that I look at how they behave and go through life, and it's a marvel to me that they still work. And so you can't say bad guys finish last, because this bad guy or bad girl over here is still doing fine. So it's like there's no set rules. That's what's kind of strange about it, is that it's a business full of happy accidents, and it's a business full of miracles. Now, I always say, for my life, I was just doing this interview for this show that's coming down the pipes, but they said if you could sum up your life in like one kind of like phrase, and the phrase I would say is, I come from miracles. I totally do. And I'll explain why. My mom came over from Vietnam. She didn't speak English, and she had $20 to her name. English was her third language. She's a 4'10", fierce Asian woman. and she worked in a sweatshop. And you would think, looking at that, because there are people that are in this country that have a lot more of a leg up in life than my mom did, and nothing's happened to them. They've done nothing with life. She could have chosen that. She could have stayed working in that sweatshop. My life could have been very different. But she chose to fight that and fight what she was seeing around her. A lot of immigrants were working in sweatshops. And she said, I want to be a doctor. Everybody laughed at her. Everyone laughed. They're like, how? You have $20. You don't even speak the language. You're a woman. You're going to be a doctor? And so one mistake you could say was she thought she aspired to be more than she was. Then her second mistake was meeting my dad. And so she met my dad. My dad saw an opportunity. He has a mustache. She was able to go, Nyah-ah. And so he got with my mother. And then, surprise, surprise, I came along. But during this time, my mom was like, no, I really want to be a doctor. So she did all she could do with the skills that she had, and she began working at a restaurant to try to make some kind of money. All the while, I'm pop out, little me, and my dad is doing his best David Copperfield trick and disappearing. So now it's my mom and little me, and that's it. So she makes enough money, she goes to medical school while raising me and dealing with all because I was a bad kid. And then eventually she becomes a pathologist. And she rides that momentum, and she becomes one of the most renowned physicians in the US. From nothing, absolutely nothing. And having to put up with me. Because I asked her, I go, why didn't you have any more kids? She goes, son, I learned my lesson after you, son. And she's right. And I know I was an oops. I would have been a cool name, Oops Haberkorn. It's okay, I get it. My mom was silly. And so my dad was very silly and naughty. And so I bounced around from different babysitters and the YMCA and different, because we didn't have a lot of money. And so I was being raised by a lot of different entities, not even people I could look up to. And so I was going down a pretty bad path. And then at the same time, I was occasionally hanging out with my dad. I don't know if you guys come from divorced homes, anyone from a divorced home. So you know what that feeling is when you pack your bags and your dad says he's gonna come get you and you're waiting by the door and daddy doesn't come. Does anyone know that feeling? Mm-hmm. I know that feeling 100%. And that happened a lot. But when it was Christmas every odd Christmas when he would actually come get me, I would go, and he was a very bad example because we would be homeless. We'd be living on the beach. That's why I don't like Spam. I don't like Spam. So if I ever see you at a Hawaii con and you bring me that Spam sushi thing, I will turn it into a steak and pretend you are a vampire. Because that's what we ate on the beach. That we would sleep in the back of a truck. We wake up, we have a gallon of water, wash, brush teeth, and eat Spam. That was my childhood. And so I was heading down a very bad path because he would also take me to, so you know how you have hotels? You know what typically happens with hotels when they become abandoned? When the hotels become abandoned, they cosplay as Breaking Bad. I would go to those places because he's like, okay, we're gonna go run an errand, and he would drive me, and then it would be like, Daddy, what's up there? Why is that blue smoke coming out of that room? And so at 14, that was my voice. And so I was exposed to a lot of bad stuff. And then when I go back with my mom's too busy. My mom's very busy being a doctor and having to kind of balance the world of being a 4'10" foreign doctor in an all-male dominated industry, at the time. And so she didn't have time for me. And so I was heading down a really bad path. But by a miracle, I fell into acting. And this was much younger, so I was like 10 years old, I started acting. And I found something that I really, really was passionate about and cared about. And I put all my focus there, and that's where I learned my discipline from, just in life, of how to be polite and say please and thank you and being punctual and stuff like that. And so that's why I say it come from miracles, because my mom did, and then it was a miracle that I didn't go down the path of my dad, and went down a path. And also, the entertainment industry itself is just, it's not even a choose your own adventure game. You don't have that much control. It's literally it's like fishing. It's like fishing with your life. You put yourself into a creepy crawler form, you hook yourself on the hook of the industry, and you throw it out in the sea of the world, and you just, well, you see what happens. Well, been out here for about a couple days, just fishing, waiting for something to come back. And so, who knew that all this would go on? So, people ask me, could you ever imagine where your life is now? Could you ever imagine that when you were a kid? No way could I imagine this, because I don't think anyone can. No one can. Even if your life's the exact opposite of the spectrum, no one imagines where your life's going to be. You plan ahead, but you can't possibly imagine. So that's why I say I come from miracles. And so that's something that I always keep with me in this industry, is because everybody has ups and downs. I mean, I get, for every job that you get as an actor, there are 10 that you won't get. And that's just a numbers game. It's like every day I'm auditioning, I probably send in 5 or 6 auditions a day. Some people send in 5 or 6 auditions a month. It just depends. It's where you are in the industry, this and that. I have my goals that I want to reach. John has his goals, I'm sure. Chris has his goals, all this kind of stuff. So it's a never-ending game of, it's really, how long do you want to stay in the game? Because there's some people that hop out and go do something else, and that's totally fine. Me, I'm a soldier. I never want to take the entertainment industry desk job, whatever that may be. I always want to be out in the field fighting and killing Nazis and beheading bad guys and scalping people and taking those scalps to the nearest market and trading them in for store credit and buying flour, and then getting back into my cart and buggy, and one of my kids dies of dysentery. And
Oregon Trail.
I take his body and I try to put it in a freezer and see if I can bring him back to life. And then I start getting involved in sciences, and I start looking, I'm really fascinated by science and anatomy, and then I start exhuming bodies from graveyards and taking parts and putting together the perfect son that I didn't have. And then I shock it with electricity, and then he comes to life, but then he's really strong, and then he doesn't really listen to me, and he goes off and he creates a terror in the town, and then I have to go and take him out because I created him. But then I'm like, well, I'll create you a bride to distract you, and then I go create a bride corpse thing, and then, so who knows what could happen in life. Next question. Yes, with the Pokemon ears.
Okay, this is coming out of left field. When you were Mr. Knickerbocker, how long did it take you to walk on stilts?
So I was Mr. Knickerbocker and Barney, and that was a lot of fun. No one, everyone had sung about Mr. Knickerbocker, but no one saw him on screen, and I was him, and I was he. And so I had already been walking on stilts because I had done that for another entertainment company.
Okay.
And so they called me up. I didn't audition for that role. They called me and just offered it to me. And so I went and we shot with Barney and Baby Bop and all the little other, because they're all, the lesser dinosaurs are just middle-aged male dwarves. And so when you see that, because they're bouncing around and they're all very happy, and then when it's a cut scene, it's like, yeah. Are you on that shoot for next week? Yeah, me too. And and so it's very strange. But the guy that I worked with, who runs the Pickle Palace, he's the new Hellraiser.
Oh wow.
So it's interesting to see what did you do right before Hellraiser? Oh, I was on Barney. But being Mr. Knickerbocker was a lot of fun, and I thought oh great, Mr. Knickerbocker's gonna be in all these other movies. But then Barney's like, oh well, we're done. It's like, son of a. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Another question? Yes, sir. Yeah.
Have you seen the death out between Natsu and Ace from Death Battles?
I have. I like those guys. I don't know why they didn't just email me. You know, a lot of times people take the political high road on that kind of stuff and like, oh, well, they did a good job. And they did do a good job, but it's like, effing email me. And they're like, well, he had a contract. Let me decide what my contract is. I'll let you know what my contract is and whether or not I can do death battle with you. So I totally would have. But Howard, I know Howard who plagiarized my voice. But, no, I know Howard. Howard is a good kid and everything like that. And that was, I'm glad that Natsu was featured in that episode. I just don't know. Maybe they have to pay per email that they send. Maybe they have to pay per tweet that they send out. Maybe, I don't know the situation. I'd have to talk to them.
I thought it's a Funimation
Next
rule.
question. Yes.
Can you give us your best Vic impression?
My best Vic impression?
Oh, God.
No, because I know this is going to go online and go to him, and then I'm going to hear about it from him. Because that's what always happens.
That's amazing.
Do a big. That's like saying, hey, can you just give us your ATM PIN number just for... Hashtag, this is how disasters happen.
What's your social security number and your home address?
275. Wait a minute. Yes. My very first cosplay was Ling. When we announced that I was going to be involved in Brotherhood, that was at ASIN. The company made a Ling cosplay for me, and there's a picture online floating around somewhere. Then I was Alan Walker for a convention, and they wanted me to debate Edward Elric, so Vic dressed up as Ed, and we had a little debate. That was fun. A presidential debate that was sprung on us, actually. And then I went to, okay. So there was a video game that I was going to work on at Otakon. It was the Otakon video game. They were going to have their own video game. I don't know if anyone remembers this, but Otakon was going to have their own video game. The guy that was producing that video game decided that he had a better idea for that video game. And what he meant by a better idea for that video game is that he would raise the money for the video game and then just take it. That was his better idea. But while they were doing this panel, and I knew something was fishy because every time we would do a panel, I was like, these are the same animatics that we saw at the panel 6 months ago. But that's a nice watch. And so, but yeah, he just took the money and ran. But I had nothing to do with that. But so I was at this con, and I was Batman. But I just brought the mask. And so what I would do is I said, I'm gonna trick him. And so I was supposed to be on this panel, and so I put the mask on, and I stood in line with everybody waiting to get this mile-long line to get into the room with everybody. I just stood there and I had my Batman voice on, just talking with people, getting their opinions and saying like, you know, have you heard of who's your favorite voice actor? Have you heard of Todd? What do you think of his stuff? Getting some info. And then when I went in, I'm sitting down and I'm looking up at the panel, and I can see them start to go like, and I'm just sitting there because I know what they're doing. They're asking, "Where's Todd? Where is he? Why is he not here?" Just sitting there, waiting, watching, and then they just start the panel. And so then when it's time to take questions, I get up and I start asking questions, and they're very light questions, and then they start getting a little weirder. And a little weirder. And then it's like, then eventually they're like, Todd? And then I went up on stage. And it just so happened that one of the other actors that was on stage, for some reason, happened to be carrying a Bane mask in his bag.
Okay.
That's like that magician that always carries the fake thumb around in his pocket. It's like, wait a minute. But you carry a fake thumb around all day, every day? But anyway, and so he put his Bane mask on and we had fun. And I answered the rest of the questions in the panel for the rest of the panel as Batman. Let's see. So it hurt my throat afterwards. Yes, ma'am.
If you could reprise any role, who would it be and why?
What's funny about that is, for the longest time, you know, it was Alan from D. Gray Man. And then when we started working on the show again, I was like, wow, this is amazing. Because when we worked on D. Gray Man originally, I didn't know, you know, honestly, I didn't know that we would be ever working on it again, because we worked on it and then we took an 8-year break. 8 years we took off from that show. So when I started working on it when I was, you know, 8 or 9, working and directing that show, and then we take an 8-year break and then we come back to it, it was weird. It was a little weird. Because I just didn't think we would ever do that show again. And every convention, fans would ask, when are you going to do more D. Gray Man? When are we going to do more D. Gray Man? And so I would go talk to Funimation and they straight up would say, like, quit asking. We're not going to do it anymore. And then I would like cry and I would rage out and I would Hulk out and then I would kill 5 or 6 people. And then they would cover it up and then the government would come in and they'd say, oh, we're ready for you. We have these Haber Hulk darts that we're going to use on you. And then they would stab me with the Haber Hulk darts and then nothing would happen. And then I'd get even more angry. And then I would slap them through a wall and then would run off. And then they would try to get in touch with me, but then only Betsy Ross would be able to come and talk to me and I would calm down and then I would devolve into regular Haberkorn and then they would capture me and I'd get angry, like, you turned against me, and then I would Hulk out and then she would run away and then she would like try to make me angry and then she would like kiss her new beau and I was like, wait, I thought we were together, and then I'd get even more angry and I'd bust out of my chains, but then we're in a helicopter so I fall way down into the ocean and then when Hap says, oh, hey, Godzilla, what are you doing here? He's like, I'm sleeping until Shin Godzilla Part 2 and I'm like, well, wake up because I need your help because I need to go get D. Gray Man. So he's like, okay, saddle up, and then we ride to Japan, say, you need to make more D. Gray Man, and he's like, okay, I don't know what you're saying, I don't speak English, and I'm like, translate, and Godzilla would be like, blah, 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 but it was very loud because he's Godzilla, and then the guy his ears are bleeding, but he understood that he needed to make more D. Gray Man, and then we would make more D. Gray Man, and then we go back to the US, and then we would do the next season.
Bravo!
And so that's how more D. Gray Man came about. But I remember where I was. I was actually on this coast when I found out there would be more D. Gray Man. I was at the Natural History Museum in Manhattan, which I love. And I also love how they have just artifacts out and they say don't touch them, but they're literally in the walkway. So I don't know if you guys have been there, but you know that Egyptian part where they have the catacomb right there and they're like, don't touch this 4,000-year-old catacomb. But it's like, it's right in the walkway. It's like when you go to Hawaii and it's like, don't step on the coral reef. But the second you get in the water, coral reef. You're like, but you shouldn't touch it. You shouldn't. It's like it's the fish, their food. But I was there and a fan tweeted me and said, congratulations on D. Gray Man. And then I started seeing like, congratulations, da-da-da, oh, that's awesome, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't, because I'm like, I'm the lead and the director, you'd think I'd know. And so I contacted the producer, and I said, are we going to do more D. Gray Man? And all he sent back was a smiley face. And so we went into production, and we did more D. Gray Man, and here we are. So it's fun to go back all those years. It's kind of like with Fairy Tail. When you hear Natsu in episode 1 of Fairy Tail compared to Natsu in episode 276, those are different voices in a way. It's kind of like Homer in season 1, and then Homer like season 3, like when he gets set, I like that Homer. Homer season 1, I'm like, that's not Homer. Even though it is Homer, it's like that voice is weird and strange, but yeah, anyway. Let's see, next question. Yes.
I was just wondering what your favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie is, if you could say in your best Italy voice, because I still love an episode of Italian Roll Cabinet.
My favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie. I really like Signs, because they have a dinner scene and they're eating carbs, and I love carbs in the form of pasta.
But yeah, Signs is good. I haven't seen Split. Is that good?
Oh, that's
I haven't. I just have to watch it. Is it scary?
No.
It's not scary. It's just like suspense. Okay. Is the ending good? Like is it come out and you're like, oh, whoa, Okay. He's good. I wonder if it's a challenge for him because, like, does he feel like he? It would almost be a twist if he did a movie that had no twist ending. It was just that would be the twist. Like, oh, good job. Yeah. Yes.
If you could voice any video game character, who would it be and why?
I would like to voice anything, like any Batman or Superman game or like Metal Gear, because I really like the Metal Gear series, even though I have not beaten anything beyond Metal Gear Solid 2. That was a great game. They're just, because after what, like, you gotta really focus on those games. But anyway, so any of those games, I'd like to voice pretty much any major comic book character. Like if they made another Spider-Man game, and all the guys that they used for Spider-Man just were sick somehow.
They were in the freezer.
then they had to call me. I would love to do it. I think I know all the current Spider-Man. And I think I know their food allergies. Next question. Yes.
You said that there was a final, the final season of Fairy Tail. Do you know how many episodes will there be
You know,
yet?
I don't know. I would imagine 26. I
26.
guess.
Because the last season wasn't it like 61 or something like that.
Oh, I hope it's something like that. That would be
That's
cool.
because that was a long. The last one
Hey,
was a
that'd
long
be great.
season. Yeah.
61 episodes more, then that would bring it up to we're on 276. Okay, I would like that. All right.
26 would be
Yeah.
good.
Let's go with 61. In fact, if we actually, you know what? Let me ask. Oh my gosh, that'll be the last question. Let me ask. I'll call the director right now. Oh my god. Ah, dang it. They don't have my thing. Anyway, well, I'll call him. Let me see what he's up to. Check. Ah, there we go. Boop. 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 This is me calling my mom. Maybe we should call my mom and see if she knows how many episodes. We're gonna call my mom. My mom may not answer.
I mean, this is Todd and his phone, so.
Sure.
It's busy.
My mom's retired. What is she doing?
My mom's on summer vacation. What is she doing? She's a teacher.
Are our moms hanging out together?
Maybe. Could be.
Like, what is my mom doing?
He's on another phone line right now.
That's my mom. I talk to that part of the phone more than my mom. No, I'm just sad.
Do you ever feel like you want to shove the voice who records that message whenever someone doesn't pick up?
I shove a lot of people throughout the week, so I try to keep my shoving to a minimum. But now I'm bummed out because my mom has a lot of kids. She only has me. But then maybe that's why she didn't answer. So here's what's going to happen, guys. This was awesome. I am now going to go to my autograph table in the dealer room, and I'll see you guys there if you like. Thank you very much for coming here and having a good time. Thanks, guys.